Aeons of Christmas. The name Christmas, meaning Christ's Mass, was first recorded in England in 1038. Since the Romans gave us their festival of Saturnalia, December has been marked by the receipt and offering of gifts. So with Aeons of Christmas comes Aeons of responsibility to look after one another. In 1863, Charles Dickens published his novella, A Christmas Carol, targeted at the rich. The Gothic themes of the text lured them into a story that juxtaposed their luxurious lifestyles with the harsh realities faced by the poor. A story written so long ago could hardly be relevant today, could it? In 1834, government passed the Poor Law Amendment Act, which set up a Poor Law Commission, independent of Parliament, to oversee the local parishes, which themselves were grouped into Poor Law Unions, and Norfolk had 22 of these. Great Yarmouth's Poor Law Union was established in 1837 and spent £7,100, equivalent to £659,000 today, to construct a new workhouse with a capacity of 400 paupers. I'm sort of 30 seconds away from the location of this workhouse, where some of the building still remains as parts of the Northgate Hospital. The Great Yarmouth workhouse had, at times, over 300 inmates at a time. You can imagine just how hectic life inside of a workhouse was. Under the 1834 new Poor Law, life inside a workhouse was designed to be harder than life on the outside in order to deter new inmates and also to relieve the government of costs relating to poor relief. One resident, Thomas Bilton, was in the workhouse for at least 42 years. The Poor Law Board said that he was there due to a weak intellect. Another, Sarah Pryor, had been in the workhouse for 30 years due to both a weak intellect and physical disabilities. This information comes from a report published by the Poor Law Board in 1861 of all adult paupers who had lived in a workhouse for a continuous period of 5 years. And it goes to show that the Great Yarmouth workhouse, as well as the workhouses all over England, failed to provide their citizens with adequate support.
Are there no factory jobs? Are there no benefits?
Thankfully, we don't live in those times anymore. Society is accepting and most people want to help each other. The beginning of the 20th century marked the beginning of a new era. The Liberal Party won a landslide victory in a 1906 general election and brought with them some major reforms to the welfare system. In 1909, for example, a minimum wage was first introduced for certain low-wage industries, and this began to grow across more industries throughout the century. Of course, the 20th century also saw us through two of the greatest conflicts in human history, both of which encouraged further social change. During the Second World War, Britain experienced a near total state control, and this sparked the belief that the government was able to help in more areas of national life, which we soon saw with the introduction of the National Health Service Act in 1946, which established the NHS 2 years later. It was also in this time period that the Labour Party introduced family allowances. It's the 21st century now, and we are in the middle of some huge changes to the way welfare is set up. First introduced in 2010, the rollout of universal credit is well underway and scheduled to be completed in the year 2028 after full-scale migration began last year. The rollout hasn't been easy. In its initial year, costs for the rollout increased after struggles with IT systems and leadership, and the 5-week initial wait period often sees recipients receiving less than their entitlement. So that was a whistle-stop tour of the history of this country's provision for the poor and disadvantaged. It's 2024 and still people closer to home than you might think are struggling to make ends meet. At St George's Theatre, this Christmas Carol is going to highlight this timeless issue through a unique lens this November. And as for us, we'll meet again and we're going to discuss how the actions of today are shaping the world of tomorrow.